Hi, folks. This is Mark by Mark A. Foster, Ph.D., for the Institute for Dialectical Metarealism. What I have been thinking about the entire day is what I have been doing and why I can't stop doing it. It started with a Zoom meeting. And the Zoom meeting is a study class. It's basically every week, although we occasionally skip weeks, like we will be skipping the next 3 weeks. And it's a very nice study class, very enjoyable. We talk about all sorts of things. And at the end of it, I made the point that I'm making here now. Again, that even if I wanted to stop talking about the ethnic cleansing that is going on in Gaza, I could not. I know I could not. Have I tried? As a thought experiment, yes. As a thought experiment. I haven't actually tried, meaning not doing it for a period of time and seeing how I feel. I am actually afraid to do that. I fear what kind of consequences that might have on my emotions as an autistic. And I don't think those consequences would be very good. But as a thought experiment, yes, I have tried. And the results were what I expected. And maybe in that sense, the thought experiment was, to borrow Robert Merton's term, a sociologist, a self-fulfilling prophecy, sometimes called the Pygmalion effect, based on the story of Pygmalion, which was made into the musical comedy My Fair Lady. Nice movie. I enjoyed it. Well done. Basic idea is that if you expect something to happen, then sometimes it will happen. And so for that reason, the self-fulfilling prophecy or Pygmalion effect is sometimes called expectation states theory. Same thing. So it's possible that my thought experiment and my view that I could not stop making these podcasts, which are a vehicle for me to speak out about the ethnic cleansing. It is possible that my feeling that I could not stop is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Maybe I could stop. Maybe. But even if I could, the question is, would I want to? And the only answer I have for that is no. Absolutely not. Going back to a subject I addressed in several podcasts in the past, my definition of a human being. What does it mean to be human? As contrasted with being a Homo sapien sapien. Well, All of us are by default Homo sapiens sapiens. That's who we are. That's our species. That's how we fall into the great apes family. I may be using family incorrectly. I'm not a biologist. But we are great apes, like monkeys, like orangutans. But we are great apes with the ability to reflect on our own feelings, our own decisions, and on the actions of others. As far as I know, monkeys and orangutans cannot do that. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they can. But I know I can. I can reflect on the actions of others and on my own actions. And when I look at the ethnic cleansing being performed by Bibi Netanyahu in Gaza, the genocide that is taking place in Gaza, when I reflect on that, all I can think of is that the people engaged in that process are literally not human beings, meaning they do not have humanity, which is my definition of a human being. So while all of us are Homo sapiens sapiens, all of us are not human beings. Being a human being is an accomplishment. And I want to make sure that I am a human being. Whether other people recognize me as such is irrelevant. Whether other people disagree with me or condemn me for being an anti-Zionist, for speaking out against the atrocities being carried out by the Zionist regime in Jerusalem, I don't care. I literally don't care. What I do care about are the Gazans. A short time ago, I watched a video. It was difficult to watch, as are all the videos of Gaza and now Rafah in Gaza are to watch. It showed two young children crying and bleeding from the face. And still, it appears that those two children are among the lucky ones in Rafah. They are not dead. They did not appear to have any missing limbs. I am sure they will have PTSD for the rest of their lives. I have PTSD too, so I know what that feels like, but their PTSD will undoubtedly be much greater than mine. And I have tremendous compassion for them. I love those two children. I can picture them in my mind right now. And I wish I could comfort them. I wish I could, but there's no way for me to get to Gaza or Rafah. And even if I could, what would I do there? And so I feel like I feel almost like I'm out of place. Or to quote the name of a well-known website for autistics, that somehow I have landed on the wrong planet, literally on the wrong planet, and I don't know where I am. Now, my whole lifetime, I've seen these inhumanities, these lacks of being human, same thing. But nothing on the scale of what I see right now. Nothing. I am not going to say that this is the biggest catastrophe in human history because I wasn't alive then. I wasn't alive. And so I can't speak about all time in history or prehistory. I am sure that the world has gone through very difficult times and immense suffering for many people. All I know is that in my lifetime, I have never seen anything as devastating as this. And the body which formed the Zionist entity, the United Nations, can't do a thing. It can't do a thing. Even though the US has stopped, at least for now, vetoing condemnations against Israel in the UN General Assembly, so what? The UN General Assembly has no executive power. It can't really do anything other than issue condemnations. That's it. Now, the World Court can bring charges and convict people in absentia, but unless they go into a country which is a member of the World Court, which excludes Israel, predictably, Russia, and the United States, nothing will happen to them. It is interesting to me that those three countries are not members of the World Court. And those three countries, either now or in the past, have been involved in war crimes. Israel in Palestine, Russia in Ukraine, and in other places before that, and the US everywhere. Everywhere. Where has the US not committed war crimes? That should be a better question. I'm sure there are some places where it is not. But I can't think of any off the top of my head. Even Canada, in case you didn't know that, when the US invaded Canada and tried to drag them into the Revolutionary War, and Canada kicked the US out. Regardless, now we have Gaza. Now we have Gaza. And I cannot keep silent. Even if I wanted to keep silent, I could not. And when I say I could not, I'm not being metaphorical. I am speaking about my thought experiment. I have tried to come up with scenarios in which I could stop talking about Gaza. And I have tried to carry them from beginning to end. And not one of them worked. Not one of them. They all failed. They all fell flat on their faces, without exception. I realize it's a subjective matter. Most people are not doing what I'm doing. Many are, but not most. Other people are doing other things like student protests, which also involve many faculty. And I regret that I cannot go to any because I'm not working anymore at the college. And where I am right now, in the Rio Grande Valley of Texas, well, even if there were student protests being organized, they generally do not announce it to the public. Why? To avoid creating the impression that the protests are being organized by outside agitators. And so at best, I hear about these protests in retrospect. I have a good friend who has been doing the same thing as I have, trying to find the student protests. In his case, he wants to film them. That is not my objective. I mean, I could, but I want to bear witness. One can bear witness without filming. Filming is good, obviously, because you can leave a record so others can bear witness too. But for me, I just want to personally bear witness. But I don't know how to do that because I don't know anybody here. I have no contacts in the Rio Grande Valley. I did in the Kansas City area, but not here. And so I feel lost. The best I can do, it seems for now anyway, is to create these podcasts. That really bothers me because I really don't think that is enough. I hope it is enough to make me human. I hope. To give me humanity, which are synonymous in my view. I have not heard many other people equate human with humanity and say that you can't be a human without humanity. And so I hope that by saying that, I have put a new concept into the ether that others will pick up, because I think that is an important thing to say, if I do say so myself, that we should not assume that being human is a default position. In my view, it clearly is not. Being Homo sapiens sapien is a default position, not being human. Definitely not being human. I mean, is Bibi Netanyahu human? No. Are the Israelis who call the Gazans Nazis human? No. I am sorry for being judgmental, and I realize I am doing that, and I shouldn't be judgmental like that. But so what? These are not ordinary times. I guess I am just venting again, which is okay for me. I don't know how you like it, or whether you appreciate it, or whether you benefit from it or not. But I would encourage you to make your own podcasts defending the rights of the indigenous people of Palestine, the Gazans and the Palestinians at large, and calling upon the Israelis to leave, to get out, to get out, They literally have no moral authority to stay there anymore. I mean, they were parties to the truce proposal. They were parties to it, along with the US, Egypt, and Hamas. And then when Hamas accepted it, which I assume Israel did not expect, Israel backed down. Why? Clearly, because the Zionist entity wanted to invade Rafah, which it is now doing. Slaughtering people, one after another, until there are no Gazans left. I assume that's the wish of the Israelis. Will that happen? Maybe. Maybe they will be successful. But again, as I said in a previous podcast 1 or 2 days ago, I believe that karma is a part of the dialectic. And I'm using karma in a generalized sense, not to refer to reincarnation or transmigration. Cause and effect. As you sow, so shall you reap. Simple. And so whatever Israel might gain or thinks it might gain from killing the Gazans or exiling them to Africa in Egypt, it will lose. In the long run, it will lose. It will lose. Now, on another point, but a related point, regarding my own spiritual view, I believe in hellfire. Now, I'm not a Christian or Muslim, whatever. I believe in hellfire. Eternal hellfire, whatever eternal might mean. And I believe that the people who are involved in this genocide, in this ethnic cleansing, will go to that eternal hellfire. I would expect that a place in hellfire is being prepared for them right now. So that in the world to come, these monsters, also known as Israelis, who are committing this genocide, will be entirely removed from the humans in the next world. Because literally, most Israelis are not human. Not all, but those that support the terrorist act in Gaza are not human, in my view. And sending them to eternal hellfire is more than deserved. If I had the power, I would do it myself. I would derive immense pleasure out of dropping them into it. Now, I don't know if that's realistic, dropping them, but that's how I visualize it in my head, like a pit of fire, people falling into it. And I would love to be one of the people that is literally dropping them into that pit of fire. That is justice. They do not deserve any mercy. Mercy is an extension of justice. Mercy is not distinct from justice, in my view. Mercy is the positive side of justice. When one is behaving justly, then one is treated with mercy. But when one is being a jerk, a monster, a war criminal, then one is not being treated with mercy. So being treated with mercy is possible, and I hope I will be. God knows I have been through a lot of pain and suffering in my life, and I am not a perfect person at all by any stretch of the imagination. I am far from perfect. But at least now, and really throughout my life, I have tried to be just and caring. And when I have not been perfect, I would say it's because of my autism that has made me incapable of being empathetic in general. But I think, as you can see right now, I am filled with empathy, with intersubjectivity, or if you want to call it a theory of mind, the psychiatric term for it. And I feel like I'm almost being overwhelmed. It is only Horia, or in Persian, Hori, the black-eyed maiden of white light, that is protecting me from falling off the cliff, falling off the emotional cliff. I am amazed that I've managed to hold it together. I would not in past years. This would have easily tipped me over. It is not. It is not. And I think that is because of the empathy. I am too focused on others to worry about myself, to even care about myself. I care about the Gazans. I care about the Gazans now primarily in Rafah, who are being slaughtered. And Benjamin Netanyahu could care less. I don't think Biden could care less either. He said that Rafah was a red line. Now the IDF is in Rafah. So I would ask Biden, okay, Biden, what happened to your red line? Well, I think the answer is clear. There never was a red line. The idea of a red line was rhetoric. It was purely rhetoric. Because if you don't enforce it now, you will never enforce it. And so, Joe Biden, I anticipate that you will go to eternal hellfire as well. I wish nobody would go there, but I think that it is only just that people who commit injustice receive justice. And that will happen, I believe, to too many people. And it is their own choice. It is their own choice. They made the choice to facilitate this terrorist campaign, to conduct it, or to support it. Nobody made them. We all have agency. We all have agency. And so, in other words, if they wanted to, they could stop it now. They could stop it now. They could. They won't. They won't. And so another day Another string of killings, and probably more to come tomorrow and the days to come, unless and until Israel is miraculously stopped. And I do mean miraculously, because I don't see how Israel can be stopped unless they are stopped miraculously. They will continue slaughtering the indigenous Palestinians for as long as they can get away with it. As long as they have ammunition and bombs, and they have plenty of them. But it is only a matter of time before those monsters will reap what they have sown. They will. When? I don't know. I don't know. I wish it was today. I genuinely wish it was today. That's what I pray for. I prayed for it right before making this episode of the podcast. I prayed that it would happen today. So far, it is not. And there's not much longer left in the day where I am. For the time being, this has been Mark by Mark A. Foster, Ph.D., for the Institute for Dialectical Meta-Realism. Have a pleasant day and an even better day tomorrow.